Alright, video 4 of chapter 17 of the Scarlet Letter. We're going to start right here. Hester Prynne was now fully sensible of the deep injury for which she was responsible to this unhappy man, in permitting him to lie for so many years, or indeed for a single moment, at the mercy of one whose purposes cannot be other than malevolent. The very contiguity of his enemy, beneath whatever mask the latter might conceal himself, was enough to disturb the magnetic sphere of a being so sensitive as Arthur Dimmesdale. There had been a period when Hester was less alive to this consideration, or perhaps, in this misanthropy of her own trouble, she left the minister to bear what she might picture to herself as a more tolerable doom. But of late, since the night of his vigil, all her sympathies toward him had been both softened and invigorated. She now read his heart more accurately. She doubted not that the continual presence of Roger Chillingsworth, the secret poison of his malignity, infecting all the air about him, and his authorized interference as a physician with the minister's physical and spiritual infirmities, that these bad opportunities had been turned to a cruel purpose. By means of them, the sufferer's conscience had been kept in an irritated state, the tendency of which was, not to cure by wholesome pain, but to disorganize and corrupt his spiritual being. Its result, on earth, could hardly fail to be insanity, and hereafter that eternal alienation from the good and true, of which madness is perhaps the earthly type. Such was the ruin to which she had brought the man once, nay, she, should we not speak it, still so passionately loved. Hester felt that the sacrifice of the clergy's good name and the death itself, as she had already told Roger Chillingsworth, would have been infinitely preferable to the alternative which she had taken upon herself to choose. And now, rather than have the grievous wrong to confess, she would gladly have lain down the forest leaves and died there, as at Arthur Dimmesdale's feet. All right. So she feels so guilty about letting Roger Chillingsworth inflict pain or poison Arthur Dimmesdale, and not poison in the literal sense, but in the metaphorical sense, right? He poisoned his soul with just his mean, persistent inquiries into Arthur Dimmesdale and constantly berating him. And so she feels guilty, but through this guilt, she also feels passionate love for Arthur Dimmesdale, which is crazy, right? All right, this ends video 4 of 9.